But I think they all come down to one fundamental question. Does capitalist democracy still work?
Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, coming out and saying the quiet part out loud. This is a clip that's going around on the internet today. Quick summary for those that can't stand to hear her voice. The world is changing and capitalist democracies are on the chopping block. This is, of course, is what a lot of people have been predicting have been coming out of places like the World Economic Forum, for which she is a member. This is her profile on the website for the World Economic Forum, and it says down here she is a member of the forum's board of trustees. Now, this has been a contentious thing in Canada for some time, as people have been pointing this out and saying that this is a conflict of interest. You cannot be the deputy prime minister, the finance minister of a country, and also be a part of a lobby group that is looking to, take over the world with their new vision of this anti-capitalistic vision and anti-democratic vision. I mean, I've been saying this for months and months on the channel, and here she comes just saying it out loud and telling people exactly what she thinks. This is usually behind closed doors, I would imagine. But when, they talk about it at the Davos meetings, everybody says it's conspiracy theory, but here she is saying it, and she's saying it in front of a group of students that are graduating and going to be going out into the world, and she has this to say. I'm going to play it in its entirety. Sorry for all those of you that cannot stand her voice. I'm going to be playing this so you can hear what she has to say, and then we're going to be moving on to some of the things that even Klaus Schwab, the forum leader, the guy who founded the place, has been saying about freedom, about democracy, and voting and elections. We're going to get into that briefly. Let's just listen to this.
Our time of tranquility is over, and we are living in an age of change. We're living through what President Biden, on a visit to my country in March, called an inflection point. A time of transformation, he said, that comes once every 5 or 6 generations.
What happened 5 or 6 generations ago? Yeah, the Nazis took over Germany and they pushed their way through Europe. Is this the inflection that she's getting? I don't know. It seems to be going in that direction, but leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Let's keep on going with this.
Now, like it or not, you are graduating into that inflection point. And as some of the very best educated people on our planet, you have the rare and precious opportunity to shape it. So, what is this inflection point? What is this upheaval which is going to the roots of humanity itself? There are many ways to describe this transformational moment, but I think they all come down to one fundamental question. Does capitalist democracy still work?
Well, spoiler, the answer is actually yes, but that's not what she's going for. Capital democracies have lifted many, many people out of poverty over the past century and a half, a bit more than that. And we've seen the biggest economic growth in all of human history. You could go back to the age of serfs and lords, and you could probably have a good idea that even the poorest in our first world countries are doing much better than the royalty in feudal nations of the past. We have had such brilliant minds come out of this, and this is largely due to the fact that people are transient in the classes in this type of society. This idea of capitalism, which is actually a coined term from Karl Marx. I like to call it the market economy because it's the idea of freedom of ownership of property. This is the real crux of it, and this is a real crux of where a lot of people have arguments against the World Economic Forum and what they stand for. A lot of these people from the World Economic Forum have, well, you guessed it, Marxist ideology behind all of what they have to say and what they're advocating for. The idea of the removal of private property, private ownership of property, for the masses, for the plebeians, the regular folks, the proletariat may have you, but they want to control all of the means of production. They want to control all of that stuff from a central authority. The story hasn't changed. The characters have just been changed in this whole story, and that's really all it is. We're pushing forward, and this is what they're trying to do with this whole concept of socialism, Marxism, and this is the fruits of that labor over 5 generations pushing into this. What else does she have to say here?
That's the question being posed around kitchen tables.
No.
In my country and this one.
No. The question is being posed at kitchen tables is, how are we going to afford the mortgage now that the rents are going, or the mortgage is going up and the interest rates have climbed because of this woman and the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, what they did to our economy here in Canada. But of course, the solution for socialists when they destroy an economy is more socialism to, bring about the utopia that they always advocate for.
As parents wonder if our children can count on capitalist democracy's essential promise of a future more prosperous than our present, it is the question.
It's what it's delivered. It's I'll let it play and then we'll get into it.
Being posed in the muddy and bloodied trenches of Bakhmut as Ukraine's brave Democrats resist the invading forces of Putin's dictatorship. And it is the question being posed by our shrinking glaciers and our warming oceans, which are asking us, wordlessly but emphatically, if democratic societies can rise to the existential challenge of climate change.
So again, saying that our democracy won't be capable of bringing us out of climate change, the manufactured crisis that they've brought about for us, and we need to remove democracy and the rule of law as we know it in order to get out of this predicament that they've displayed for us.
Now, these are, of course, huge and fundamental challenges. I'm not here to counsel despair or retreat. Yeats famously said of another generation that came of age in a liminal moment that the best lacked all conviction, while the worst were full of passionate intensity.
Well, she's full of something. That's absolutely for sure. Now, recent times we've heard from Klaus Schwab. This is a clip that's circulating on the internet as well, where he describes a future where we don't need to have elections even, because they'll be able to just predict what it is that needs to be done, and who cares what you have to say? We don't. And even the Google CEO or the Google co-founder agrees with them and says, well, why would we even need representatives at this point?
Heard is that technology now is, and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be. Can you imagine such a world?
Yeah, we've had such a world in the past. It was called feudalism. It was, it was people being ruled over. And guess what? It sucked for a lot of people. It sucked for most people. And it even sucked for the wealthy, because they didn't get the prosperity that came out of what we discovered later was the market economy, that actually became the biggest boon of prosperity that the world has ever seen. And these people are instrumental in trying to crush that at the moment. And let's listen to the co-founder of Google, who is very happy to concede and to concur with him on this prospect.
Well, you might then further ask, well, why do we need to have elected leaders at all? Because you might as well have all the decisions made.
Yeah, AI and all this stuff is going to make our decisions for us. Now, AP ran their fact check. The World Economic Forum's chairman didn't call for AI to replace elections. No. You didn't hear what he just said. You misunderstood. You big dummies out there. You didn't, don't listen to what he says. Listen to what we say about what he says. A video shows Klaus Schwab, the founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum, calling for artificial intelligence to replace elections. AP's assessment, it's false. The video shows Klaus Schwab discussing hypothetical future scenarios. We're not endorsing it. Klaus Schwab speaking with Google co-founder Sergey Brin at the World Economic Forum annual gathering in Davos, Switzerland in 2017, prefaced the scenario by saying that he has heard fear of how predictive technology could be used. And he asked Brin whether it could be, you can imagine a world where elections are deemed unnecessary because the outcome can be predictive. He said conscriptive. He didn't say predictive. He said conscriptive. This is, I'm going to call false on this fact check big time, because they're not even saying what was said in the video. He said, we will be able to have the predictive power. And this is, if you go back in the video, he talks about people having chips in their brains and stuff. Oh, totally conspiracy theory. Hey, if it's said anywhere else, but if it's said at the Davos, or even maybe the secret one that they have in China once a year, they have 2 World Economic Forum meetings every year. Maybe you didn't know about the one that takes place in China. I think we'll be covering more stuff about that one coming up soon. But hey, let's have a look at Klaus Schwab, because this is a video that's going around as well on the internet of an interview, and somebody zooms up on something that's on the shelf. If you pause the video, zoom in, wait a second, why is there a bust of Lenin on his shelf if he's not just straight up a communist? That's a big old question to be asked here. But anyway, getting back to it, Chrystia Freeland talking about the end of democratic elections, the end of democratic society, the end of capitalism, the end of the market economy as you know it, which of course means the end of private property ownership. We've been seeing and hearing stuff like this out of our government for some time, out of this cabinet. We heard famously from David Lametti, Canadians don't have a right to property fundamentally when it comes down to it. The government can take anything from you. The facade of private ownership is all that we have at the current moment. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And you know what? We're going to be doing a live stream in just a few hours here. I know I'm doing these videos later in the day these days. Let me know in the comments if you like these later videos as well as the morning videos. And of course, tune into the live stream. We'll be live at 9:30 Pacific time. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. I have some guests. It's going to be a good time. And yeah, of course, tune into that. And if we don't see you then, we'll see you in the next one. So as always, keep on trucking.